Hey everyone, Greg here. As you may know by now, I'm the co-founder and CEO of TripShock, an online reseller for water sports and tours. For the past 12 years, we've had the pleasure of working with hundreds of operators across the country, and we're looking to grow our community. It's free to sign up, and you only pay when we bring you confirmed bookings. We'll help you reach new customers, fill empty seats, and grow your business like so many have done with us over the years. Head over to partners.tripshock.com to learn more about our program, read testimonials, or speak directly with our supply team. As always, thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
They come to relax, enjoy the beach, have fun, and spend money. And that's where we come in. This is the Awkward Watersport Guys podcast. Find out tips on the best ways to market and operate a water sports business. If you're a water sports operator, you need to grow your brand, operate more safely, upgrade your operations, and of course, increase bookings. We're industry veterans, broadcasting from Destin, Florida. This is the Awkward Watersport Guys podcast. And this is Kevin O'Neill and Greg Fisher.
It's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Dude, it's been a minute.
We were on a roll. We've done like probably 25 episodes straight.
Yeah, we had not
Something like
missed
that.
a beat all through season for sure, man.
I know, that's crazy. And now the
Dude,
season's
look
ending.
at his beard. This thing's getting big, dude. I'm telling you. And last time you didn't even have a beard. You were baby face. It's been that long. We're like cavemen. Yeah.
Well, we missed everybody. We missed our listeners. So we are
I
episode.
didn't miss any one of these motherfuckers, man.
Well, we are at episode 49. We're almost at the ceremonial 50th episode. That'll be next recording. So we need to find a good guest for our 50th.
An anniversary, a 50th anniversary.
Disney World 50th anniversary.
I knew it. I knew we were going to talk about Disney World. I knew everything. I knew everything we were going to talk to about today.
Oh, you did?
I knew it. We're going to talk off season. We're going to talk Disney World.
So yeah, we're going to talk about some best practices going into the off season. And for most of you, you will be going into an off season because typically the summer is the peak. Maybe a few are going to go into your season. I don't know. I mean, some people are year round. But yeah, most of us are going into the off season, and we want to talk about just a couple things that you might want to think about before you go shut things down or go to a skeleton crew. But before we get started, we have some news. If you've not already heard, the Watersport Forum and the Arrival Conference have been rescheduled. However, I did get a handful of responses back from some of our listeners and people that are going to the forum that said, hey, scheduled the time to go to Orlando. We have flights. Can you put together something? Can we still do the forum? I've been thinking about this when I heard the news man, it'd be great if we can have a really solid one-day event at least. I know for Kevin and I, it's only a 6-hour drive, and some of you that are in Central and South Florida, but maybe we can still put something together. So we are still looking to do something. We're going to have more details out later this week. I spoke to some of the Arrival folks, and they want to help us put the event on. However, it looks like January is when they're going to reschedule Arrival, and it's probably going to be out west, which is kind of a bummer.
No, calm. I don't even think I told you. They when I talked with Bruce, they asked me to be on a round table. So, no, come to whatever event that they come to, because they're going to have my big mouth up on stage at a theater event. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah,
so the event is not canceled. It's just rescheduled to January, and they're not sure where it's going to be. It's probably going to be somewhere out west, but the news has not come out yet. We are going to still try to do the Watersport Forum in Orlando in October. It's not guaranteed. It's tentative. We're going to put together a plan and then present it to everybody. If we get enough participation, we'll do it.
We are not going to do Zoom. That is not going to happen. I feel like I'm going back into, don't look contemplatively. Don't do that. We cannot do a Zoom meetup, man.
I know. I agree. I know 100%.
Giving into, like, I refuse to believe that we're going to do a remix of last week.
No, we're definitely not doing a Zoom. It's going to be in person or nothing at all, because I'm tired of doing Zoom meetings. Okay,
it's awful.
that's the latest and the greatest. So just stay tuned for more on that. Well, I guess what else we got?
I'm myself am physically pregnant. You're like, what do we got going on? I don't know. Off-season best practices. Greg got back from Disney World. He went to Disney World again.
Yeah, we had our Hurricane Fred. I was in Disney when Hurricane Fred was like barreling to Northwest Florida. Well, it wasn't a hurricane. It was a tropical storm.
It wasn't a hurricane.
So
tropical
it basically just missed Destin, but I guess like Panama City Beach, and they got, a lot of rain and things, messed things up for them, but we lost like 3 days this week.
It was like a nice day too. It wasn't even there was, I'm like, me and a friend of mine were talking about this one time about like why hurricanes have like such like bitch ass names, Henri right now is ravaging New York. Like, oh, Hurricane Henri, like it's like all French sounding. Like that doesn't sound intimidating at all, it'd be like,
yeah, it's Henry,
Hurricane
Henry,
Hurricane Jack, yeah, bearded
Henry. I'm like, Hurricane Henry. This is America, for crying out loud.
Get your umbrellas out, dude. Go eat some fucking French bread with that shit. So stupid. All right. Yes, off season, because like what's better than pulling all of your equipment out and redoing it, but pulling all of your equipment out every fucking week because Hurricane fucking Chastity is coming. Henri, like, God damn it. Every time I turn around, there's like, it's the worst because you're like trying to get your stuff done and then try and like want to hit two birds with one stone maybe. So when we get in a slow season and we do start having storms, like I'll put like half of our stuff back in and then start getting work done on it. And, I always try and like mix those together a little bit. So I have some I feel like the jet ski episode, was that our last episode?
I don't remember. Been too long.
I can't remember. But you were like, yeah, Kevin, I feel like you got a good process for people in jet skis. I was like, no, I don't. But this I do. I'm like off season. I get into off season a little bit. I like to get everything dialed back in because I can't sleep at night until all my equipment is fixed back to 100% in the water. If we're getting new stuff, whatever. So we spend a lot of time training, making sure if somebody doesn't know something that they get acquainted with it, because a lot of times, sometimes I just need one guy down on the docks, sending out boats, sending out jet skis. And now obviously this is for a rental model. Probably not so much with your head boats and your passenger vessels and parasail boats and stuff like that. You're still on a skeleton crew, but that crew is pretty much, they're pulling the boats out of the water and getting stuff fixed. But I think it's a great training opportunity to find people that maybe necessarily aren't even like, you're going to work on this engine or you're going to learn how to bottom paint or sand. Like, obviously that's a great opportunity for people to learn those particular skill sets. But I also think it's a great opportunity for you to put maybe get some people wearing some different hats and getting to learn different parts of the business. So you have a more well-rounded employee, because nobody hates. I mean, you can't train somebody in the middle of June or July. It's awful trying to get somebody to like
when you get into like November, December, you're like done. Like you don't want to even look at anything. And the next like 3 months are perfect. August, September, October, because it's slower. No matter where you're at, it's typically slower. You still have a crew. You're still doing a little bit of business, or you're still like 80% of summer. So you have the time to invest in a similar conditions, obviously, than you see with summer. So I think that's a great thing, is just taking your employees and using this as a training opportunity. So real quick, when a hurricane or a tropical storm comes, what is your procedure typically with equipment and?
Put on an adult male diaper. And I act like a huge baby. I hate it, man. So I just pull. I try not. Okay. I got a great story, man. And this is why I don't. this is just one particular gentleman. This is a good Kevin one, man. This is shit that only happened. So I pull, like, I immediately, tropical storm, hurricane, it's coming. Yeah. You know, like, like, I just pull everything. We get it done in a day. Start first thing in the morning, knock it out. Or do, like, you know, depending if we're going to shut down, like, the day before, then, you know, that night I might pull half the equipment. Like, I really start pre-prepping shit, because one season I waited. I can't remember what storm it was, but I waited, and then, like, everybody started pulling their shit, and I was like, son of a bitch. It was like 7:00. So I was like, all right, guys, we have to get, and I'm really happy we did, but I'm like, guys, we got to get everything out of here. You know, I was like, son of a bitch. So, our marina closed. So we had to go down to the next street. Or down to this park, in Fort Walton Beach, where there's some, like, undesirable people, like homeless folks, like, stay out and stuff. So we're getting all of our equipment out. I'm one of, like, the last 2 or 3 boats. It's like 1 a.m. I'm super tired. And, there's, like, I'm sitting there backed up to the ramp. We're just, like, looking at my phone or whatever. And then I see this, like, person approaching from the side, you know, and he's all smiling, you know, he's like, oh, I'm like, how can I help you, man? Like, I roll down the window, and some kid, he's like 22, 23 years old. And he's like, let me get. And then he does this, like, halo circle motion over his head. He goes, let me get your hat. And I was like, what? And then he says it again, like, oh, anyway, let me get circle motion, your hat. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck away from my dude. I have no idea, like, what the fuck you're on, man, but I need you to get the fuck away from my car right now. So he's like, okay. And so he walks around the front of my truck, and he's, like, looking at me, and he's, like, doing this, like, he's all about my hat. And he comes up on the other side of the truck, and he tries to open my door. You know, so now I'm like, I've got my gun, and I'm, you know, it's late night whenever I'm dropping in boats in Liza Jackson. So I get out, I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, please don't try to get in my truck. We're in Florida. I can shoot you. But I don't think he's so, like, harmless, right? So I get out of my truck, and I go around the front, and he fucking jumps out at me like a spider monkey, and he pulls his pants down and starts jerking his dick off at me, dude. I was like, ah! I was like, I backed up so fast. I was like, get the fuck away from me, dude. I was laughing. And then just then my dockhand comes, like, rolling around on the fucking, or comes rolling up to the thing, and the guy just takes his pants off and just starts running down the dock at the boat. Fucking Chance sees this guy, and he just slams the boat in reverse and fucking gets back away from the dock, and, like, the guy, like, stops, like, right at the end of the fucking dock. Takes off, goes just, like, running off into the fucking woods or whatever in the park. I happened to be a cop, like, cop pulls up, and I was like, I don't know, some naked guy running through the park, 23 years old, trying to jack me for my hat. The next day, fucking, I'm down, I talked to Jason or Maya or something from H2O, and they're like, yeah, so somebody stole one of our boats last night from the docks. And so, granted, we're like a mile down away from Liza Jackson where we're at. And they got the guy, and he was like 23 years old. He was completely fucking naked on the boat. So this guy, like, ran down from the fucking all the way, ended up at our marina, just oddly enough, and stole one of Jason's boats, and they caught him naked. It was awesome. Yeah, so I never wait until the last minute for fear of getting jerked off at.
I remember, like, it was Hurricane Michael in Panama City Beach. A lot of people waited, like, to the last minute, and it was crazy because it was like a category 4, like, while I was in the Central Gulf, and everyone waited and waited and waited, and there was so much destruction over there. A lot of water sport companies were literally obliterated, boats completely gone, because by that time, where are you going to take your boat when people have already, you know, used up storage places? I mean, it's like, and plus trying to get things out, trying to get help when you're a day away from landfall. It's like, yeah, nowadays, I don't even, like, if someone says, what do you think I should do? I'm going to be like, you need to get it out now, and it's going to suck because you could get everything out and then it could be a beautiful day the next day and then people want to rent.
But you can't though, like, because if you're, look, yeah, no, even if that, you're still under a watch and a warning. And if somebody goes out there and stubs their fucking toe and decides to sue you, your insurance isn't going to cover you. Like if you're out during tropical storm conditions and you're under a warning, you have to shut down. You can't open. It doesn't matter what you do. Snorkeling, parasailing, renting boats, renting jet skis, like just make sure that you have that completely understood. I mean, with most insurances, they're not going to cover you if something happens out there while you're under a tropical storm watch or warning, for sure. It's like a small craft advisory, but way.
I didn't even know that. So even if it's a watch
severe.
And it's beautiful out, they won't cover you. No.
Yeah, because you could have a sail that break off. Let's say you're a parasail guy, you know what I mean? Or a sail, you know, and you have like a sail comes through off that storm. Jesus, I got to be careful about what I say because I don't want people fucking whatever, but there is, and I'm not 100% sure, but I know it was like tropical storm conditions back in 2009 when there was a death in North Carolina, and I'm again, don't quote me on it, but from my understanding, it was like a band off of maybe a storm, and maybe it was just tropical storm conditions. There wasn't a storm out there, but still. But point being is that like during these kind of things, like nothing is out. Something builds up, especially in our region. Shit builds up in the south, out of the north, out of the east, out of the west. Like it'll literally pop up from out of nowhere. So you have to worry about that as just as an everyday thing during during these like sort of like rain days, like sketchy rain days. There won't even be anything on the radar. Next thing something's there, So you're covered under that. But if the same thing were to happen in a condition and on a SCA, small craft advisory, or you're under some type of flash flood or some type of warning, or something like this happens, I mean, the best thing to do: pull your shit out, give your crew a nice rain day. It sucks. You don't want to give up any days if at all possible, but
if you leave your stuff in and the storm goes more west or east and misses, and then you can take advantage of being the only one operating that next day, is it really worth the reward? Because first of all, you're not going to see a surge of people coming the next day. And
not even anybody
what
calling.
Could potentially happen is if that storm makes an adjustment and now you're in the eye or you're in the danger, you're screwed. You're not going to get your stuff out. So don't risk it.
And another thing, and this is part of my fucking kung fu, is off-season marketing. A lot of people like slow the fuck down. Like don't get me wrong. Pay down. Actually, if you're my competitor in the Destin Fort Walton Beach area, yes, spend lots of money on Google ads in the off season. We still do marketing. We still do content marketing. We still create, we still have a social presence. We just don't shut everything down. Don't be afraid to put your foot down on the gas a little bit when it comes to your marketing in the off season, because everybody's sleeping. Everybody's sleeping in the off season. Everyone's like, oh, cost, you want to still keep those percentages up. But if you look at everything, like rather than individual buckets, I look at our budgets in individual, like month to month buckets, day to day buckets, year to year buckets. But again, I look at that whole year to year bucket, like what's my marketing budget for the year, as well as a month. Now, obviously they're going to fluctuate from month to month, but I'm still going to keep ththose processes going. I'm still going to be creating content. I'm still going to be creating backlinks. I'm still going to be focusing on making sure we have a strong market share, because there's money still is going to come in the form of future bookings. And Greg, you are the de facto marketer of the two of us, so I'm sure you agree with this.
Yeah, there's two things I'd recommend. First, I would look at your better performing campaigns and then your least performing campaigns, and I probably either shut off or greatly minimize your lower performing campaigns. Maybe because we have some campaigns in the summer, they do great. Or I wouldn't say great, they do okay in the summer. Enough to where I keep them running. But once I go into the fall, they never perform the same. So I usually shut off the lower performing campaigns. And then the great ones, I continue at the same spend. But I do draw back a little bit, because I don't know what it is, but the lower performing campaigns, they never maintain. in the off season as well as they do in the season.
Yeah, and then also depending on how you have your target, like I'll keep national campaigns running at a very low spend volume. And if we can get some conversions there for future bookings, that's great. But if we're like completely shut down, I'll run a national campaign. I'm not running local campaigns. Like my paid spending goes way down, but we still keep, focused on organic, and our Google My Business is a really big one. You want to keep that shit going. You want to keep reviews rolling in the off season. We run drip campaigns. We do remarket campaigns for reviews in the off season. So, and I also believe that's why we're one of the highest reviewed in our market, because I keep going in the off season.
Yeah.
So there's some karate ninja shit.
Yeah, the second thing I'd recommend, if you do any branding campaigns like billboards, I would recommend shutting those down. And the reason why is the cost of a billboard, at least in our market, and I know in a lot of other markets, because we do billboards in other markets other than just Northwest Florida, the price isn't much different from July to November. You might get like a couple $100 per month off, but you're getting probably 150% more impressions in the summer than you are in the off season. So you're not getting the value that you get in your main tourist season. And plus, there's just not enough people in market that are wanting to do water sports in winter, right? So,
what about side hustles? I wonder if any of our people get into side hustles. If you guys listen to this episode and you guys want to drop a side hustle in the group, we'll have to hit a post in the group about that, because I know there's a lot of people that.
Oh, we did
this is where the time
we did do a post. Remember we did what your side hustle is?
Oh, that's right. I think mine was like mail escorting or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. All right.
So I guess just to wrap up marketing, I agree with Kevin. I said don't just shut everything off this off season, because that's what everyone's doing. So look at keep your better performing campaigns going. Your lower performing campaigns, either shut them off or reconfigure them. If you're doing any branding campaigns like billboards, look at maybe toning those down or shutting those off in the off season. You're not going to get as much value. Anything else we're missing? Marketing? I mean, we could go on a whole tangent on this, but I think that's...
Yeah, off-season marketing could be its own show.
I guess the last thing on marketing is...
Keep your rack cards going. I love that you hit billboards, because I would fucking bust somebody's balls so hard, but I know you're running fucking billboards right now. I go down to Fort Wall, I see it, like, if you're running billboards, like, now all of a sudden, we're like, don't do it. Don't waste money on fucking billboards. Episode 49, fucking out there, big trip shot fucking shit. Greg's trying to take over the world, though.
The difference between the billboards I run than what other people do, if you have an established brand in a market that's been around for a while, a billboard is a good thing to do, because it's really, I look at it as remarketing. People come into town.
It is.
I believe most people have maybe found Trip Shock online while they're searching for things to do, and then that's just more reinforcing Trip Shock. If Trip Shock was 2 years old, I wouldn't be doing it.
Where you have them, where I've seen them is, I mean, they're also great. They're great places. Like you have one at the base of the Brooks Bridge. You have one going from in Destin. Like I've seen where you have your billboards, and they're fantastic places. Somebody's sitting there and they fucking, look up, and then they're going to go right to their phone there. So I mean, I would venture without any kind of like metrics to judge this, I would venture to say, I would guess that conversions for billboards are probably you probably get a better ROI on it. If I was a billboard salesman, like this would be my pitch, and I'm probably sure I'm right, is that billboards are better now, are converting even better now, because yes, people can make sales right then and there when they see it. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm going to get to where I'm going and then like look this place up or whatever. Now they can just look it up right then and there and make a purchase right then and there.
So here's my problem with doing a billboard as an operator. One good example, there's a billboard in Destin, and all it says is Destin Party Boat Fishing. It has a picture of a red snapper and a boat. All right. So basically they're promoting a commodity, not necessarily the name of the business. If I was the company, I would put the name of the boat. I would really go after the name of the boat, because what am I going to do? I'm going to go on my phone and Google Destin Party Boat Fishing, which is no different than Googling Destin Jet Ski Rentals or Destin Pontoon Rentals. So they are promoting the category. They're not necessarily promoting their brand. I think they do have their name on there, but it's not really prominent. Really, it's the Destin Party Boat Fishing. So the challenge is for like most companies is they're going to want to put the name of their business on there. They're going to want to put the activity, which is parasailing or snorkeling. They're going to want to put their website name. There's just not enough space on there. So a lot of people, what they do is they just put a pontoon boat on there and say rent pontoon boat rentals. So they try to keep it real brief, but all you're doing is you're just promoting the category rather than promoting really I don't see a lot of brand. But if you're a new company or you never really put a lot of effort into your brand, which a lot of water sport companies really operate as a commodity than they do an actual brand, then all they're doing is promoting their category and their competitors, whoever. So that person's going to look at the billboard, see, oh, pontoon boat rentals. I want to do that. They get on their phone and Google pontoon boat rentals. And then now you're going to give that lead to somebody else. My Trip Shock billboards, you notice all I put on there is my name. And then little subtitles.
But there's like little bullet points.
Like pontoons, but I don't want people to Google Destin pontoon boats or Destin parasailing. Right. I want them to hit Trip Shock.
Trip Shock pontoon.
Yeah. So that's...
No, they look good. I can't hate on your billboards. They look good, man.
And I just think it's really hard for a lot of business. Now, if you're I would say Key West, right? Sunset Watersports has been there for 40 years. People that go to Key West every year probably recognize that name. They're a brand. People are probably even telling their friends. That's where I would see a billboard working well for an existing brand. That's
Fury does it.
Yeah, Fury
does it. Yeah, they saw like you're heading into US on US 1, man. It's like a big, soon as you get into Key West, big billboard, Fury Watersports.
Yeah. There's a couple situations where it works really good, but when you do a billboard, don't advertise yourself as a commodity. Make sure your name's on there very prominently. So if someone is seeing it, they're Googling you and they're not Googling the category, which someone that has a lot more money will take that lead when they get on Google with some paid ads. So anyways, that's my billboard.
Anyway, the billboard. Greg's a fucking big billboard fucking guy now. I'm going to get a billboard. It's just going to be me. Hey, ladies, I'm single. I'm not single. I was in Detroit, and so I got these, I thought it would be funny on the days that we weren't being professionals to wear these matching outfits at Arrival. So I ordered a bunch of they're matching, they look like onesies, and so I wore one of those to the casino in Detroit, and then everybody kept on saying, hey, why are you wearing your pajamas? They thought I was wearing pajamas. This says more about you than it does about me. You really have button-up shirt, pajamas, and shorts. I'm like, look, man, I'm wearing my pajamas because I'm ready to heat the sheets.
Did you go to Greektown?
Mom.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go to?
Where the hell did we go? Yeah, we went to Greektown.
Okay, good.
I went with a friend of mine who's super baller, and this guy loves to spend money, man. He's the Ferrari, he's the Rolex. It's fun though. I can't say that it's not a fun thing, but we went down there and he went into the high roller room, man, and dropped $5,000, lost $5,000 in minutes. I'm not gonna say how much I lost because my wife ever listens to the show, so I'm not gonna say how much I lost, but I was definitely sitting right next to him. I hate blackjack. I hate it. But I did go back to I was I'm gonna go to the $15 table, dude, because I was I just never seen money move so fast, out of my hands into somebody else's hands. But yeah, we went to Greektown. It was super fun. And
that's the best one.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Motor City. Yeah. Motor City's gone downhill. Oh, gross. It's really gross.
And then we're gonna I'm excited. We're doing Water Sports Guy Fun out in Vegas, mid-March. We're gonna go, me and Ben, my number one competitor. I'm not much, he kicks my ass, but yeah, we're gonna go to Vegas and hang out with the AMP guys, Steve from AMP Agency. He's going to show me how the Vegas high roller life. I can't wait, dude.
Oh my gosh.
But I am definitely going to slow my roll before I get to Vegas, man. Cause I was just Michigan. I was just, man, we went there and God, man, he was putting $100 into a slot machine, put 100 in. one pull. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Those are 25 cents. He's like, literally lost like $5,000 in like 5 minutes. He's like, I would have got it back if you would have been here. I was like, well, I'm not sitting in this scary ass place where you're just putting $100 machine, like in like a gumball machine, dude. And I'm like, I am not there yet, my man. Yeah, it was a good team. So yes, you want to go in off season, you want to go gamble, and you want to have a good time. You want to train your crew. I want to take it back to that train your crew thing. I really find that like we create leadership roles in the off season because these guys that when you start cutting back your hours, they're only, like you said, you go to a skeleton crew and those skeleton crews all can't be created equal. You know, like even if you work for a big company, a lot of times there's still like a lead dog there. There's still somebody that's going to get those hours, that's going to get, you know, get the most of your time. But there's also times where you can take somebody and you can stick them. Let's say they've done 3 seasons with you. They're not your top dog. They're still working part-time. Invest some time and money in them. Have them go answer phones. Have them become part of the sales process. Have them become part of your operations process, a part of your wherever it is that you need help, where you can invest a little bit of money now into somebody that can become a delegator for you down the line to free up more of your time to help grow. And I try to approach the same way with our crew that Sunset approached me, approach and training me and putting time and effort into me and me being able to learn things as just a worker. Now I take that same mentality and I spread it everywhere. Like I want my best guys, and I got a few of them. We have a call center girl and she knows how to drive a boat. And one of the guys, it was even today, they're like, oh, well, you know, we didn't want her. I'm like, no, I'm like, if the phones aren't ringing, let her send a boat out. I don't care, man. Let her go out there and take a boat out. So now I don't have to have a call center person and a boat person, and I can still have boats rolling out, and it's paying a little bit of money, not just for that person, but it could be paying for money to have another person doing something that I'm definitely having them do regardless, bottom painting a boat. So why not send out 2 or 3 boats or a jet ski or a handful of parasail rides? Because that little bit of money, maybe it's like a break even, maybe you're making just a little bit, but it's going to pay for something else that you have somebody doing somewhere else down the line that you'd be paying them to do anyway, you know, unless you're like a lifestyle guy and you're not, you know, trying to delegate. Like I'm this year with having my son, man, like I learned so much about delegating, and it was all technically off for me because, you know, we were homeschooling the kids and then my wife got pregnant. So I had to be home more. Like I couldn't either. And my wife didn't want to quit her job. And so I stayed home and I had to delegate everything. And I was like, like I had to let so many things go that normally I would have just been like, go. And now, from this 1 year of delegating, of spending a little extra money, of putting another pair of hands down there, a little bit better, a little bit more expensive. Now I'm like, man, my company is like a lot of the stuff that I was doing is now handed off to somebody else. And I'm kind of like, well, what else can I do now to create value in my life? What can I start another business? Can I grow Destiny Water Adventures? Can I learn more? Like what can I do now that I have all this additional extra time? And it's literally, to me, it's worth my salary. And then that becomes exponentially more and more and more depending on what it is that I want to invest my time and energy in. So, I am going crazy. I'm losing my mind. So I'm like baby crying, like, oh my God, now my kids are actually back in school. I have to get a nanny because I'm like, I can't work from home anymore. I'm losing my mind. But learning, spending time. I know we talked about this sort of thing, but I think this is in the slow time where you can really grow leadership in your organization. And if you are, a solo guy, or you're just like all hands on kind of guy, like, you know, this is a time where you could hire somebody. Maybe we completely shut down, you know, but maybe you bring your one employee in like a month earlier and hand these things off to them, like spend the $500 or the $1,000, whatever it may be for the week. Something you're not down there, you know, sanding a boat and maybe they're going to screw it up. That's fine. Like let them screw it up and then let them do it again. Pay twice for it because again, that time that you're going to never have to bottom paint a boat again or stand a jet ski or whatever it may be. And then because you brought this person in who didn't know how to do it, you gave them a skill and you're getting them at a discount because they're not like, oh, I'm Johnny the fucking fiberglass guy. You know what I mean? But that he could be Johnny the fiberglass guy for you. Johnny, your engine guy. Johnny, your marketing guy. Johnny, your new phone guy. And if you put him in those different seats, he's not only learning and helping you grow right then and there, you're also finding out what that person's strongest skill set is. And it's happening in real time.
I got a question for you. So when you train these folks, you're giving them a skill set, right? Then you get to December, January, where up in Northwest Florida, you're shut down.
YouTube is giving them a skill set.
Okay, but
if I don't know how to do it, I was like YouTube.
But for some, I'm just thinking, man, I could cut these people hours back, but no, I'm going to train them. But I'd also know that going into December, January, February, I might lay off these folks or put them on, leave because you're shut down. Does it make sense putting the investment into them, knowing that they won't be employed for 3 months? Or are you only suggesting putting the effort into people who you plan on paying throughout the off season?
I say both because a lot of times you'll have reoccurring help. So let's just say you got a kid that you can work him on the weekends because he's going to school or whatever during the week. And our situation, our market's a lot like this. In places where it's year round, obviously they don't deal with it as much. So I'm speaking to both markets right now. You have one market that's going year round, but you're scaling back the hours. What I'm saying is if you have to pay a little bit more in payroll to have that person doing other things, even if they're going to do a bad job at it, but have pay to have them learn during the off season. So you have that tool in your arsenal, or where in our particular market where we actually do shut down, or if you're in a market that shuts down half the year, some 6 months like that, 9 months, that's obviously that's a different ball of wax the longer your off season is. But if you do have returning people that are coming back year after year, you might be able to make that layoff season a little bit shorter. So for us, it's a little mix of the both. For me, I keep a handful of guys going all year round. And then there's some people that I'm like putting a little bit more time into, and maybe that it's their off season is getting shorter and shorter. But it all becomes, there's a compounding effect to it because we keep growing, because I keep delegating, right? And keep on reinvesting back into the company, reinvesting back into myself, reinvesting back into my team, reinvesting back into our products and our policies and our standards of operating procedures and what have you, that now we're starting to see that gap get closer and closer and closer till now we're to a point of like, okay, what are some other things we can do, or how big are we going to be, so that there's so much work to do in the off season and these next how many ever months that, okay, guys, well, you made money. I also teach guys how to save their money. We talk about putting their tips, guys and gals, putting their tips away, like saving your money. And I'm going to try and keep you working as long as possible. I start bringing them out to my house too, man. They'll be mowing my lawn and they'll learn how to be a motherfucking gardener by the end of their shit work with me. But regardless, I try and tell them like save up some money. And then let's say we're down for 40 days or 45 days where we have zero work. Well, go enjoy yourself, man. Go do something fun. Enjoy your time off. You saved up enough money. Again, there's a compounding effect with all this sort of stuff. Your best employees that they're going to be looking for that time off, because they worked their asses off in summer. They made a bunch of tip money because they were providing great customer service. So, for the guy that's shut down 3 months or 4 months, like every situation is going to be unique to their market and to your company and to how you do things. But I think always you're going to have people coming back, whether it be college students, high school students, like whatever it may be. And if you just invest a little bit in those shoulders of time into those shoulders, then, hell, even down to like training stuff, like doing training days. I mean, this is when you send out your team to go do, the
team building,
training.
Team building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Sure. So it's team building, learning the products.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of that. So in October, I'm taking our ops team out to Asheville, North Carolina. I did one for our marketing team in March. We went to Tahoe, but yeah, take them on trips. this is perfect opportunity. It's a little slower to do that.
But I mean, you send your sales team out, like your phone girls out, like they go out on all the different.
Yeah.
They go on all the different, the parasailing, snorkeling, fishing. Like they go out and do like all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm sure the operators don't charge them. I mean, I would hope not. But I mean, regardless, like again, it's an opportunity to train when times are slow, you know, because the last thing you want is an uneducated or an ignorant employee that you're trying to friggin' train, you know, fucking drive a boat in the middle of July or something because, you know, you lost somebody, something like that. Like you come shorthanded in July or August. Oh man, June, July, August, it's the absolute worst. So I like to have people again that can just, hey man, so-and-so's sick, you know, like I need you to come in and answer phones. No problem. I can do that. I know how to do that. Like all of I'd say 1, 2, 3, I got 4 of our staff that know how to use Fair Harbor, can check people in, can take reservations. They know how to answer the phone. They know how to use my phone system. So even if my conversions drop because I have a bad phone person, like, dude, like you know, there's no way I'm sitting in my house all day fucking waiting for my phone to ring. I'd rather pay $100 and, you know, maybe my conversions are a little bit less, but that person can do it, you know, so it frees me up.
Yep. Yeah. Training is very essential in off season. It's like a perfect opportunity to grow your
fix your shit.
Yeah, and fix your shit.
Well, I think it's like something that goes over people's heads, maybe, you know, because everybody is just so focused on, all right, we're going to shut down, we're going to pull all of our stuff, and then I've even seen larger companies make that mistake where, you know, they're paying people that do a really good job rather than just pay a dummy to come in there and fuck it up a couple times, but let them get proficient at it. Let them get better at it. Fiberglassing, painting, electrical, whatever it may be. If somebody has a yearning to want, like I've had guys that don't know anything about any of this stuff. And now, I mean, I'm not the world's Mr. fucking handy wrench or whatever, but there's guys that are better, quicker at stuff that I showed them how to do 2-3 years ago. And they're better at it than me now because they do it all the fucking time. Like they just knock out lower unit oil changes, fucking changing impellers, like, you know, doing all this maintenance stuff. And now like my time is not, I pay $12 or $13 to have that done rather than like potentially 3 hours of my time with driving.
Well, what do you think about purchasing equipment and putting your orders in right now for 2022?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we didn't even talk about that, but I mean, for sure, you know, everybody's on that one.
I know it's hard to understand, like, what are you going to have? What are you going to need for next year? But I would probably start speccing that out sooner than later and getting your orders in for equipment, because you know it's going to take at least 6 months to get it. So putting your orders in for your equipment. This is a perfect time to reassess some of the things you use. Like if you're not happy with your reservation software, you know, this is a perfect opportunity to start doing demos for other ones so you can switch, because no one wants to switch in the middle of the season. So that's a good opportunity. It's a good time to #WaveRes, yeah. It's a good time to look at ways to educate yourself. So obviously there's a lot of like conferences and things like that. Hey, you're muted. I can't hear you. There you go. You're back.
How about now?
Now you're back. What'd you do?
I said, I think I grabbed my microphone like Eminem style.
Oh,
like I grabbed it,
okay.
then I accidentally hit the mute button, but I said #WaveRes. And I was like, now's the time for you to really explore like the relationships with your OTAs, you know, like maybe think about giving them like a higher commission for doing a good job.
No, that's a good point. I mean, not the higher commission part, but looking
a good job. Man. You're getting a tip this year. You know how I love the tip.
looking at all the software you use. This is honestly, everyone says like, what's the best time for me to look at my reservation software? Like, this is the best time because you don't want to mess with it in November, December, and January because you just got too much other stuff going on with the holidays. This is a good time, and you don't want to start the season. Or you don't want to start next year because people start making reservations for spring in the winter, like January, February. So switching the system before the end of the year is better because you can start fresh going into the new year. So this is actually, I think, the best time to start looking. And plus you're busy enough to where you can kind of really see the differences between the two. And
take a break, man. Take a break. remember why we do the business that we do. Go have a good time with your family and then learn, man. Like I'm the biggest advocate of learning. So when we go on vacation, just like you do, Greg, like I know we both always are watching like what people are doing. We go and see how other places operate and what they do. And you'll always find just great kernels of little nuggets of knowledge and information, and seeing the way, like even down to the most smallest mom and pop shop operators, lifestyle people that are out there doing it for their love, doing it off their property, trout farms, whatever it is, you'll find all these really cool little eccentricities that people do in their business and in their family and in their life that adds value to the experiences. And then figure out like, man, how can I do that? How can I make my experience more genuine? How can I provide another layer of customer service? And enjoy yourself. Go take a break. And I'm telling this to my future self.
And I know hopefully most that are listening can afford to, take a vacation. We had a pretty good year. Most of us did anyways. Take some time off. I mean, just shut your phone off and just go. And like, I went to Disney, and I try, when I go on vacation, no matter where I go, I try to like take time to assess everything, absorb it all, and try to understand, like, yeah, I make it somewhat business friendly. Like, I'm not just toned out completely. Like at Disney, one of the things I like is that they're using QR codes extensively throughout the parks for menus and everything like that. And one of the things I thought that would be interesting for water sport operators is, because dynamic pricing is becoming more prevalent, or tiered pricing, that instead of I go to like a lot of these kiosks for water sport operators, and they have their pricing listed out, like printed out. But it would be kind of cool to list your services, but you can have a QR code for pricing. So you can hit the QR code, and then it can show what the pricing is for that day. So that way you can change your pricing as you go, or you can use a QR code for data collection. So, those big A-frames you see when you're walking down the docks, have like hit the QR code for our latest, our best deals, which could be, you can update constantly, so you can get more value out of your A-frames. And plus, when everyone's walking by and hitting it, you can collect their data in some way. So I thought they did a really good job of converting to like a more QR code friendly park. And it just was a better experience for me, because I don't want to touch a nasty menu with COVID all over it. I mean, right. I mean, and then I get more information rather than the little brochure you get. If you get the QR code, when you can navigate to different things. So
that's an example of never letting a good tragedy go to waste, or a good disaster go to waste. So many presidents have been that it's been attributed to, but I mean, you really, and I don't really want to fucking, God damn it, dude. I was really hoping we would not be talking about COVID, third quarter fucking 2021, but here we are. I like the idea that, you really do. You see how these like top level companies are obviously like figuring out and you see it and you hear it and you like think about it, and there's like an instant rush to be like, oh, greedy. Like, no, it's like, it's survival. It's survival. It's changing the marketplace. It's adapting. It's business evolution. And it has nothing to do with, I guess it has to do with greed. I mean, if making money and your business surviving and hiring people, and if that's considered greed, then okay, that's greed. But yes, using QR for data collection, like you have to see everything that's coming down the line at us, and use it as some type of, I'm going to say it again, like a broken record, like a learning experience, like Greg said. So he went to Disney, sees all these, like the use of QRs, use of access to people's data. We talked about an early episode that you're going to have to be creative with how you accrue data collection. I know not everyone's gone on us on this one. They're like, yeah, you fucking had me at go on vacation.
Yeah, we're done.
Go on vacation, then learn how to get fucking people's data. But it is like we've seen really fast. I've seen my Facebook experience change. It sucks. I don't like the ads that I'm getting fed now. It's more like television. It's more outbound marketing, not inbound. And in order for you to be able to collect people's data and reach out to them and have a conversation with them about the products and services that you're selling, like, man, that's people are interested in going on vacation and relaxing and renting a boat or going on a jet ski ride or parasailing or snorkeling, doing whatever it is. So that's like something they'll click on, they'll open that email. Like I read Disney's emails. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to check it out and see what they're trying to, talk to me about. And it's not, again, it's not so COVID and QR codes and data collection, but it takes us like right back to the, off season. COVID for some of us was fucking one huge off season. COVID is going to create a potential another off season coming up. Like we have no idea where this thing ends. Like I said,
Yeah.
I guess we thought this would be done by now, but it's not. And this show I think got born out of the idea, like having this conversation about what the fuck do you do when you're potentially your business is being shut down. And, so this whole thing Awkward Watersports Guys came in the middle of a raging COVID pandemic. And I've had an opportunity to learn so much from Greg, learn from our guests, learn from the people in the group, and create an entire community, an entire huge sector of mine and Greg's life out of possibly the worst fucking time in modern American history. So again, you have to be able to take every single situation and learn. Yes, shut down your engine, shut off your email, go spend time with your family, but then come back and learn. And if you can learn while you're out, if you're that kind of dude like Greg, like myself, then even better.
It's pretty when you're at a place like Disney that's so revolutionary with how they market and how they track people in the parks with the bands and shit. It's amazing. Like you can't help but just look at everything and say, well, how, wonder why they did it this way. And what is the science?
Kids, I would imagine. I bet you there's so many lost kids. They were like, we've got to fucking do something about this. You know what I mean? Like, and I love it, dude. Like, I mean, I know some people like, oh, they're tracking us or whatever. And I'm like, fucking fine, track me. But if my kid gets away from me, you're going to fucking have that little shit, you know what I mean, scooped up in a minute because where everybody is with those little bracelets, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, anyways, I think that wraps us up for the show. I think, good. And I guess we'll be back with our 50th next week, and we need to figure out. I guess we'll make it a surprise who we'll bring on for our 50th anniversary special. I guess. Hey, did you see we hit 5,000 downloads? Did you see that?
I didn't.
Oh, yeah, we hit 5,000. Oh, and I got an email from solicitor, and he said that we had the #1 business podcast in the Cayman Islands.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's go to the Cayman for our 50th.
So what's happening is someone on the Cayman Islands listened to the show, and all it took was one download to put us in #1. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so excited, dude. We're the #1 the Cayman Islands. I got to figure out how to get my money over there.
Oh my God. I just thought it was hilarious. But then I went on like a couple weeks later, since we didn't have a couple shows this past month, and I think we went down to like '7 or something. So
what? Now we're no. Oh my God, we got to get back to #1 in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, maybe we can have I don't know, we'll talk about it.
Hey, we can put on our website the #1 podcast, and then in small subtitles in the Cayman Islands.
And with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys, as always, for listening to our show. And Greg, what should they do?
Keep it awkward.